Okay, and welcome to Wednesday Night Slides number 46. Tonight is going to be an all train night. I didn't get to do anything other than trains this month, and it's entirely current events, with the feature attraction being the CSX Santa Train down on the Klinchfield to get us into the holiday spirit. But got some other stuff here first, and I'll get the show going here. Okay, I guess you all can see the title slide there, okay?
Yes, sir.
All righty, away we go then. We'll start with my usual sales pitch. I got the Pennsylvania Steamboat coming out, hopefully in time for the big train show in Clark, New Jersey in March. Right now, it's still on the website, pre-sale price of $39. You can grab a copy off the website and I'll mail it out as soon as they're printed. All kinds of stuff of steam in the state of Pennsylvania. This happens to be Pennsylvania steam with the Penn's EK4, but it's got some tourist stuff in there as well, like the Strasburg you see here. So that's in the works. That's the next book out. My first two books are also on the website. Right now, they're both $5 off if you're looking for the perfect Christmas gift for anybody who likes trains. That ends the commercial. I'm going to start off over in Delaware. This is in Newark, Delaware. In early November, I heard that the Amtrak ACS 64 wrapped for the King Tut exhibit, National Geographic's King Tut exhibit down in Washington, D.C., was going to come north. For the first week in November, there was still quite a bit of foliage on the trees, kind of nice. And here comes King Tut up past the Newark ex-Pennsylvania Railroad Station. And we got a unwrapped southbound train. It's Newark, Delaware, and Newark, New Jersey. Newark, Delaware. So you got to pronounce it properly. This is kind of local, up in Haddon Heights, which is a suburb of Philadelphia on the Jersey side. This is the Conrail Shared Assets train, actually, with a Norfolk Southern leader going past the ex-West Jersey and Seashore ex-PRSL station in Haddon Heights. And I will admit, I stole this photo. Somebody took this shot and posted it on the South Jersey Facebook group. And I saw it and I loved the shot. I said, wow, I didn't know you could even do that. So I was like, the next day it was sunny. So I was up there to duplicate it myself. Headed over to Delaware again. This is at Pigeon Point, which is a state park adjacent to the Northeast Corridor above Claymont, or below Claymont, above Wilmington. And we have Amtrak's Veterans Unit heading north on the left, meeting a southbound Acela on the right. This was supposed to be the King Tut unit again coming down here, but Tut missed its train somehow, and all I got was a standard Amtrak ACS 64. That is Bell Tower, which is no longer used in the background there through all the catenary poles. And we're down to Claymont Station and got this set of Amtrak work locomotives. They shuffle back and forth to various points because they have the shops in Wilmington for the electrics and the coach shops down in Bear, Delaware. So there's always a maintenance train or a hospital train out and about almost every day. This is down at Marcus Hook, Pennsylvania. Southbound train on the corridor. That's Marcus Hook, Hook Tower in the background there. My hometown railroad over in Woodstown, where I went to high school, is coming right along. You might remember a few months ago, I showed the first rail bikes operating over there. Now they're operating trains. Here we see SMS Baldwin S12 304 with a caboose crossing over Oldman's Creek between Woodstown and Swedesboro, New Jersey. SMS is operating this line as the Woodstown Central. The railroad is actually owned by the county. This is the very first trip. They get to Swedesboro and they run around the train, all which consists of the caboose. They run around the caboose and they go back south again, back through Woodstown to the other end of the line in Salem. Here we see it coming south, approaching Woodstown. That rack of the thing of corn over there on the right hand side, that's actually tied to a whistle post. There's a private driveway that crosses the tracks right here. See it right there. And the owner of the house for years has put corn up on the whistle post, big cast iron whistle post, because no trains were using the railroad. We'll see if SMS continues to allow that or if they're going to protest it at some point. On the other side of Woodstown, heading towards Salem, the railroad has purchased 95 acres of land. And we see it here on both sides of the tracks. They own all this land now. They're going to put in their passenger operations here, a heated shop for their steam locomotive, and a transload facility. The coaches will start coming down probably next spring. They're hoping to have steam power, an 060 with 2 coaches running by Easter. Coming back from Salem, and now with the engine pointing in the right direction again, this is going through Alloway Junction. There were 2 junctions right in the immediate area here at one time, both removed in the 1940s. And coming back up from Woodstown again, heading back up to Swedesboro off the New Jersey State 45 highway bridge. Proceeding north. And coming back down south again as we're running around the caboose in Swedesboro. And once again off the Route 45 bridge. And crossing over Woodstown Alloway Road. Most of the circuitry still doesn't work. The railroad hasn't seen a real train for like 5 years. Most of the crossing circuitry is out, so they have to flag the crossings. We're back at Alloway Junction again. And once again, other direction at Alloway Junction. And crossing over Memorial Lake in Woodstown. Once again, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to jump right in. You can push the space bar on your computer and ask your question, make your comment. I welcome any commentary. They run these trains that are called brew to brew trains. There are 2 new breweries within a short distance of the railroad in Woodstown and Swedesboro. In Woodstown, the Farmers and Bankers Brewery is located about 2 blocks from the railroad. Folks go there for about an hour, enjoy a beer, walk over to the railroad, hop on the caboose, ride to Swedesboro, and go to the new Swedesboro Brewing Company brewery in Swedesboro, which is actually that yellow building just to the right of the train. So they can hit both of our new breweries by train on the same trip. This is back in Woodstown, coming back into town.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
Quick question. That 060 they purchased.
Yeah.
Is that, I heard it was a U.S. Army engine, sister to 339?
Yeah, U.S. Army, and then it went to New Hope and Ivy Land as their number 9. It's still numbered 9 on SMS.
So it is a sister then to the Morris County Central engine. We have it with
It is, yes.
Oh, neat. Thank you.
Had to go north to pick up the newest print copies of the South Jersey and the Philadelphia books. I had to order more copies of both, which is a good thing, I guess. And on the way north, I stopped at Belle Meade on the Reading. And Belle Meade, the passenger station and freight station on either side of the tracks are both still there. The town has put up a plaque saying this is the Station Historic District, but not much has been done with the stations.
Yeah, it's looking worse and worse since I last saw it a few years ago.
Yeah, they need to do something soon. It's fortunately they're brick, so I guess theoretically you could wind up gutting the entire thing and then starting from scratch on the interiors. From there, I went up to Manville. This is a westbound freight with 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 NJ Transit multi-level cars in the back heading out for rebuilding. And this is in Bridgewater, which is near Bound Brook on the ex-Jersey Central. A little bit of commuter action there. Crossing over one of the branches of the Raritan River. And the day finished off on the Gladstone branch, which is about the closest thing we have to an interurban in New Jersey. Former Lackawanna. This is a westbound train heading to Gladstone, departing the Far Hill Station. I'm at the Strasburg. 611 was running out there. It started off at Lebanon Place Junction. This is the occasionally used block operator station at Lebanon Place, with the westbound Pennsylvanian going by. I'm sorry, that's a standard Harrisburg train. The Pennsylvanian would have been diesel powered at this point, I think. Yes. Because 611 drew so many people, I decided the best way to avoid the crowds was to use the drone. That way I didn't have to get near any grade crossings. I could just fly around and get my shots. I got there, the 611 was coming, and my app on my phone for the drone needed to be updated. I hate when that happens. Doesn't give you any warning, and you can't use it until you update it. And of course, I'm not on a Wi-Fi connection outside, so I got to wait for the app to upload before I can fly the drone. And I'm actually at the grade crossing that's down in those trees, way down at the far right edge of the picture here. Finally, 611 goes by. The app finishes uploading. I thought, you know what? I'm going to chase. So I put the drone into overdrive and flew about a half mile to the next grade crossing down at Cherry Hill. This is at Groff's Grove, which is halfway between where I was at Carpenter's and Cherry Hill. And we see the 611 meeting the regular Strasburg train with the 475 on it, going the other direction. So continuing my chase by drone, I took this shot here. And as it turns out, for being a drone grab shot, it was probably my favorite shot of the day, with the cars lined up on the streets here and the train ready to enter Cherry Crest Farm, the big corn maze, petting zoo attraction along the railroad. Here's 475 approaching Carpenter's. And the 611 crossing over the Pumpkinville Turnpike.
Quick question, Steve.
Yes, sir.
Those people that are in the field, did they go knock on the farmer's door to ask permission to stand in the field?
I believe so, yes. Yes, I believe so. And here's the 475 again. I tried to disguise the cell phone tower behind the tree in the background. And the 475 going through Groundhog Cut. And 611 after crossing over Esmond Shade Road. And going away into Strasburg. That brings us up to last weekend, just this past Saturday. Woodstown Central was running their second set of public trips. The first one sold out in record time. Second one's sold out pretty quickly also, but of course there's only 16 people per trip on the caboose. I had other plans later in the day. So I was fighting a high sun here at around noontime, but here's the train in Woodstown. This is, like I said, this was just this past Saturday, and I'm hoping the rain we had today didn't knock those leaves down off the trees there, because they're back in Woodstown again Friday night coming up. And I got some night photography planned while they're in town. There's that tree again. Like I said, though, I had other things to do, other plans for the day. So I started, I did chase a little more. This is crossing over Mauer Station Road. Then I headed north, and I stopped at West Trenton. Got a set of SEPTA Silverliner 5s going through there. This is the end of SEPTA service on the West Trenton line, and one of only 2 SEPTA stations in New Jersey. The other one being Trenton itself. He changed ends and came back down again a few minutes later to head back to Philadelphia. And while he was in the station, CSX came north. They've reconfigured West Trenton here entirely so that now one track is dedicated only to CSX and the other track is dedicated only to SEPTA. So it keeps everybody out of everybody else's way. My goal for the night was I knew there was a 4:30 train on the Black River and Western, and the 4:30 train should have been really nice for a sunset silhouette at the Copper Hill trestle. They've cleaned that whole trestle area out from all the trees. It looks really good now. And I got to Copper Hill and got the sunset silhouette. And they were running Santa Claus trains from Flemington to Ringo's and back to Flemington, but their shop is down in Ringo's. So when the 4:30 train got back to Flemington, they still had a deadhead back down to Ringo's again. So I deployed 3 flashes and lit it up on the way back. The 3 flashes, 2 of them are actually down underneath the right-hand pier of the bridge. One on this side of the bridge pointing up at the locomotive, one on the opposite side of the bridge down the road there pointing back at the smoke up higher. And then the third flash is to my immediate left on really low power to light up the trees on the right-hand side. And the caboose on the end. That brings us to the big trip of the month. Me and Mike Burkhart and John Regan, we headed down south for 4 days. And we got off to a bit of a late start on Thursday, 2 weeks ago. And the only stop we made was Harper's Ferry. When we crossed over the tracks on US 340 near Harper's Ferry, we could see a green signal for a westbound. So we drove into Harper's Ferry and we got this freight here. And that was it for the Thursday. We wound up tying up down near Stanton, Virginia on Thursday night. Next morning, we were up and out onto the Shenandoah Valley Railroad, which runs out of Stanton up to Weir's Cave. They use this really cool RS-11. And we chased it up to pretty much up to Weir's Cave. Then we had to break away. We had other plans for the afternoon. I headed over to the Buckingham branch, which also operates out of Stanton. And they're running this new tourist operation there with one car tourist train. But it's a high-end train. They serve lunch, real nice meal on board. $140 a ticket, I think it is, but you get, like I said, the nice meal. It's a 3-hour trip over the former Chesapeake and Ohio Mountain Subdivision. So he moved right along. We were able to keep up with him, gone a few times. He runs west out of Stanton first thing in the morning, then runs around the train, goes Long Hood forward back to Stanton, continues Long Hood forward on an afternoon trip out the other direction, east, and then runs around, comes back in the evening. Down in Goshen, the old CNO depot is still there. And also in Goshen is a railroad tie plant, and Buckingham branch had a freight outwork in the tie plant. And of course, the CNO still sees the Cardinal 3 times a week. Here's the eastbound Cardinal coming through.
Is that snow?
That is snow on the pilot of the locomotive, yes. He originated out in the Midwest somewhere, Chicago. and apparently encountered some snow somewhere. And then those engines that were working in the tie plant, they cut off from the train and they headed back to Stanton, going past the Goshen Depot. From here, we had about a 4-hour drive. We had heard that the CSX Santa Train was making this deadhead move north from Kingsport, Tennessee, up to Shelbiana, Kentucky, leaving Kingsport at about 6. And we had about a 4-hour drive to get over to the clinch field. But we drove over there and set up our lights over at Dant, Virginia, at the Union Baptist Church, and got the northbound Santa Train. So this is our goal for the Saturday. The Santa Train was started by the clinch field back in 1943. CSX picked it up when the clinch field and then Seaboard system was merged into CSX. It didn't run in 2020 or 2021 due to the pandemic. CSX announced it would not run in 2022 due to supply chain issues. Railroads were snarled and it was a mess. But then CSX changed presidents in September, and out of the blue announced the Santa Train was coming back. Fortunately, I had not booked anything else for the traditional Santa Train weekend, which is the weekend before Thanksgiving. And we headed south to do this. So the next morning, we're up in Elkhorn City, Kentucky, which is where the train gets just before sunrise. Whoops. That's a real tiny picture. I'm not sure how that happened, but this is my test shot. I fired a test shot. We had set up our lights at the bridge at Elkhorn City. I fired a test shot, and that's what I got. Hang on one second here. Let me see if I can fix that real fast. Might not be worth it. We'll see what happens here.
Yeah, it's only the test.
Well, there's a story here too, and a couple more shots. So let me just bail out of that. Okay, back over to here. Back to here. And okay. Y'all seeing the shot here now? The test shot?
Yes.
Okay. I got so many screens open, I never know what anybody's seeing. It's just the test shot. Very cool. Okay, I'm set. Looks good. Check the back of the camera. Push the trigger as the train got in position. And bam, the flashes didn't go off. So I hold all these lights down there to light this up and nothing happened. Fortunately, I was exposing to capture some of the light in the sky. So I was using a super high ISO, which kept it from going completely black. Of course, I spun and shot again with the engines next to me, and the flashes went off that time. Just the one shot that I needed, they didn't go off. But yeah, I was able to go into Lightroom thanks to the high ISO and save the shot just using the light that was available there. From there, we chased the train down to Clinchco. 3 F40s, 12 cars. And the train makes about a dozen stops along the line to pass out gifts. They throw gifts off the back of the train. In total, there were 15 tons of gifts this year. There's Santa Claus coming into Clinchco. It's great just to watch the kids' faces as they get ready to catch gifts thrown from Santa. Santa passed instead of throwing the giant bear off the back, Santa passed it down to this little girl. And occasionally Santa would spot somebody in the crowd and that he specifically wanted to get a gift to. So he'd yell out what the kid was wearing or some other identifying thing, hat or shirt color or something. He'd yell out and then he'd take the gift, he'd throw it, just like Peyton Manning. He'd hit the kid right in the chest usually. He's pretty good passer. You see Santa throwing some stuff off the back. Then there's this number, CSX has this ground support team. An incredible number of employees show up for this. They are there in a truck, and the truck is loaded down with backpacks and things like that. And the CSX people go through the crowd to make sure everybody gets a gift. There's the train leaving Clinchco, off to its next stop. And here it is coming into Dant. This is Dant is where he shot the night shot of the church the previous evening. And here it is going past the Union Baptist Church in daylight. This is probably the classic shot on this part of the clinch field. And from the drone, this is where he stopped in Dant. Each stop lasts anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes, depending on the size of the town. And coming out of Dant, heading south still. And this is approaching Dungannon, another stop for gifts. From there, we chased them on further south. This is a location called Wood. And Santa going away. Santa spends the entire time on the back platform. The train leaves Shelby at like 6 in the morning. He gets to the Kingsport at 3 in the afternoon. And Santa is back there the entire time. And the first few gift stops, Shelby, Marrowbone, they're all before, they're still in darkness. It's not even twilight yet or daybreak yet. It's just Elkhorn City is actually the first stop with any kind of light. This is coming into Starnes. Big curve there. And then crossing over Copper Creek Viaduct near Spears Ferry. Unfortunately, the trees are growing up here now. At one point, they had this pretty well cleared out, and there's even a highway pullover to look at the viaduct here, but it's beginning to really badly grow in again. From here, we headed to a little town called Waycross, another gift stop. Here's the train coming in. As I said, there were CSX people out. They put up ropes, safety tape on both sides of the tracks, with an employee every 6 or 8 feet or so holding the tape there. The train comes down between the tape, and as the observation car goes by the crowd sort of folds in behind the observation car to get their gifts from Santa. There's one of Santa's helpers throwing gifts off the back. And then it left Waycross and headed into Kingsport. We didn't bother going into Kingsport. We had heard that the train was going to just drop its passengers. They oftentimes will clean the train out of empty boxes and packing crates and things like that, which takes a while. We had heard they were just going to drop their passengers and then proceed directly south down to Spartanburg, South Carolina. So we buzzed around Kingsport and got down to Boone's Creek near Jonesboro, Tennessee, and shot the train there. Then on the way home the next day, we spent the morning in Roanoke. This is the new Roanoke Amtrak train. It's actually pushing back out of the Amtrak facility here up to the Amtrak station. And here it is leaving town, going past the former Norfolk and Western shops. I had never shot down in this part of Roanoke before for some reason. I don't know why. Things were hopping though. The line was busy. I got this nice canal next to the shops for a photo prop. Here's an eastbound train going past the new Amtrak station in Roanoke. And a westbound train going past the N&W shops. Then we were caught by surprise. This came into town. This is the Amtrak Norfolk Southern Research train. It actually lives in Roanoke, and it was coming in from Bluefield. And the research train consists of a random diesel on the front, in this case, the 9840. Behind it is the brick, and it even says on the side of it, the brick. That is a research power car. It has gear on it to test the tracks geometry, things like that. It also provides power to the research car, which is the observation car on the back. As I said, the research train actually lives in Roanoke. Here it is backing off the main line into the shop area. It has its own shed adjacent to the shops where they store the train. We're going to finish off this show. That's it for the Santa Train part. We're going to finish off the show with some big steam. Had a chance to chase Reading the Northern 2102 again at the very tail end of October from North Reading to Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. And here it is blasting up through Hamburg, PA. This is in Molino. They got an ex-Reading shelter there. Nice cold morning, so the hot exhaust hitting that cold air made this really, really, really impressive plume of steam. Coming up through Tamaqua. And there's the ex-Reading Tamaqua station, nicely restored now. Then it gets to Jim Thorpe just before it gets to town. It hits Nesquehoning Junction. This is coming through Nesquehoning Junction. And then Nesquehoning Junction's got two bridges. One's ex-C&J, one is brand new, built by the Reading and Northern, which forms a Y out of the Lehigh River. Well, they also run their Lehigh Gorge scenic trains from Jim Thorpe up into Lehigh Gorge. And it comes out of town and crosses over the C&J bridge, which is out behind the new bridge you see here. The diesel is actually out on the old bridge. So there's the Lehigh Gorge scenic train going across. And then here comes the T1. The train is towed backwards from Jim Thorpe over the old C&J bridge, which is one leg of the Y, and then the T1 comes forward on the new track. Then on the back is the Reading and Northern's SD50s painted in their fast freight scheme. Once they clear that switch there, they'll reverse direction again, and the diesels will pull the train back into downtown Jim Thorpe for the return trip. I don't mess with Jim Thorpe because the crowds there are huge. Parking's a hassle. The train spends 3 hours there. So during the 3 hour break, I headed over to, here's the fast freight diesels again. Heading back into Jim Thorpe. During the 3-hour break, I headed over to Minersville. I had heard that Jersey Central 060-113 was doing some test firing over there. And sure enough, I got over there and it was under steam. The 113, big chunky 060. It doesn't do much for the most part, but it will be running Santa trains in December. It gets out occasionally and operates over Reading and Northern trackage. Headed back over towards Jim Thorpe. This is a set of RDCs. They were running a Reading and Northern trip from Pottsville to Jim Thorpe. So that means that on the weekends that the T1 runs, the Reading and Northern has 3 different train sets in Jim Thorpe on those days. They have the T1 with its massive sold out 18-car passenger train. They have their regular Lehigh Gorge scenic trains running every couple of hours out of Jim Thorpe. Then they got the RDC train that comes from Pottsville over to Jim Thorpe. So 3 different passenger train sets operated by the RNN on those days. And then about half an hour later, this is in Barnesville, PA. There comes the T1. And we're back in Molino again, almost sunset. And then I went down to North Reading where the trips terminate to get the train coming into the station there. That tower was built new by the Reading and Northern. They built at least 3 brand new towers along the railroad. It's quite the operation. It really is. That's going to bring an end to tonight's slideshow. The next show is going to be on December 29th. That's the Wednesday between Christmas and New Year's. I am going to sign this off for the folks on YouTube, and then I will take questions from you folks. So thank you for watching, all you YouTube folks, and Merry Christmas.